Hello everyone, my name is Sam and I am a queer trans person who talks about my experience living with chronic illness. If that sounds like something that you would like to hear or know more about, then please do click subscribe. Today I'll be talking about my experience of my consultation for bottom surgery, which I had with Dr. Christopher, who is practicing with the London team in the UK. I'll be talking about what happened, how the conversations go, and how actually going to that consultation kind of changed my mind about what I thought I wanted. So to start off with, I had my second signature signed off, my referral sent in November 2019, and then I got a call in January 2020 offering me a kind of last minute appointment for later on in January to have my consultation. This is back when the clinic was with Harley Street rather than the New Victoria Hospital, and these appointments were in person. I believe it might have changed a little bit now, and obviously the timescales are going to be very different because everything has been really affected by COVID. I saw Dr. Christopher, and that's not necessarily because I was offered an alternative, but rather because it felt like I didn't really have another choice. It felt like the given thing. For those of you who don't know, in the UK, we only have one team that does bottom surgery, and you get referred directly to that team. I think maybe I got referred to him because what I wanted specifically was Meta, and I think he's the main person who does it, but I could be wrong on that, to be honest. I do know that some people change their care later on, but I'm not aware of necessarily being able to request someone specifically for your first consultation. Do correct me if I'm wrong, though, in the comments. When I went to the appointment, what I wanted at the time was a simple release Meta. I was not going to get a hysterectomy, vaginectomy, urethral lengthening, or balls. And I was quite settled on that, to be honest. In fact, the only thing that I kind of felt I wasn't settled on was whether or not I wanted urethral lengthening, and that hasn't necessarily particularly changed, but I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. So I explained what I had in mind in terms of the Meta that I wanted, and what Dr. Christopher did was kind of explained it all through me. He explained the stages, everything that sort of takes place, and all the different elements that come as part of it, and he also showed me some results. For those of you that are curious a bit more about Meta, there is a brilliant video by Leo Mateus, which I will link in the description for you guys to watch. So Dr. Christopher explained all the pros and cons of all the different elements of surgery, and also we spoke a little bit about phalloplasty, why I didn't want it, why I chose Meta, and kind of had a candid conversation about how some people do end up changing their mind. It all depends on your priorities, and sometimes trying to avoid complications isn't necessarily the priority to be taking. But still, I was quite settled with my wanting Meta at that point. I'm going to be honest, I actually totally expected that I was going to need to undress and show my growth to Dr. Christopher. I mean, Meta is basically solely based on your growth, and so I thought he would maybe want to see the size of it, especially given that I wasn't particularly quiet about the fact that I know I'm on the smaller side. A part of me is glad because it's not necessarily the nicest thing to have to undress in front of a doctor, but on the other hand, I do kind of wish it happened because I feel like that way my expectations would have been better set. That's kind of the main things that I walked away unsure of from that appointment, was kind of what to expect in terms of my anatomy and then the sort of results that I could expect from surgery. There's only so much that you can find online and on Transbucket and forums and Reddit and all sorts, and many people understandably don't necessarily post their before photos, and so it can be quite hard to figure out what sort of growth someone had before they chose to have Meta. And I know that not everybody who chooses to have it because they have substantial growth, but it's just hard to find those results to then know what you can kind of expect. Now, despite me not wanting balls, Dr. Christopher did let me feel the silicone implants, which was kind of really cool, actually. They didn't feel how I felt they were going to feel, and I don't know, it was pretty awesome. As the conversation went on, it made me realise that actually maybe scrotoplasty and balls are something that I actually want. It wasn't even something that I considered before going into that appointment, and honestly now, as I wait for my first surgery, it's like one of the main driving forces of wanting Meta. What really shifted for me was knowing that if I got balls, I would be more likely to have a bit of a small bulge, which is something that's important to me. I don't feel the need to have a massive bulge, but I do want the feeling of there being something there, and I know that balls would basically provide that. Ultimately, my genitals wouldn't look that different, and it would still quite closely resemble the anatomy that I currently have. And so, to my utter surprise, I actually changed my mind, and I walked away from that appointment saying that scrotoplasty is something that I wanted as part of my bottom surgery. In terms of urethral lengthening, I've not changed my mind on that one yet. It's definitely still something that I can be a bit on the fence about, but I want to make an entire video about that one. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this helpful. Are you planning to have bottom surgery? Is there anything that you're still on the fence about? Do let us know in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you want to keep updated, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.